from Mount Paran. 3 locations.
Yeah, but that
Let me finish.
prophecy
Let me
is
finish,
not
please.
talking
Let me
about-
finish.
That particular prophecy.
Wait,
I'll let
man.
you talk for
Wait.
ages,
I'm
man.
finishing
You just
right
made
now.
another point.
I'm finishing
Okay,
right now.
you finish, right.
Okay. It mentions Deuteronomy 33:2 mentions 3 locations. Sinai,
Yeah.
Moses. It's connected to Moses. Sire or Sa'ir in the
I've heard
Arabic
this one before.
mountain range in Palestine. Paran is Arabia. So 3 individuals. You do definitely accept Moses from Sinai. You accept
It's not
Jesus.
3 individuals. Let's have a look at
3
the verse.
locations, I said.
Yeah, 3
locations.
locations.
3 locations
These are the
connected.
locations that Israel traveled in the Exodus.
Okay, wait. I'm saying these are 3 locations, right?
Yeah.
Distinct locations.
Yeah.
And they are connected to 3 distinct personalities.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
They're the places that Israel traveled through the wilderness.
Okay. So what's happening in Paran? He's
But we're pretty much ready to wrap up.
he's shown forth from Paran. Paran is Arabia, and he came with 10,000 saints. So what happened in Paran? What
you've
happened?
given your
How
argument
did
about
Lord
brethren.
how did Lord shone forth from Paran, from Arabia? What happened in Arabia?
Well, because Israel moved through there. Yeah, the people of Israel moved through
So
there.
why
and
is
eventually
Lord
into the
shining
promised land
forth? Like, I mean,
through his people.
when you read the verse,
Because-
it says that he rose.
Let's have a look at the verse.
Okay, yeah, look at the verse, please.
What is it? Genesis.
Deuteronomy 33:2. What the verse is saying, there is,
And then once you finish
there
with
is,
brethren, I want to
there
make
is
my
a
point.
gradual elevation of the Lord, so to say, yeah, in the biblical
33,
language,
33.
that it starts from Sinai, it goes further up in Sair, and it reaches its peak in Paran. It reaches its peak in Arabia. So what happened in Arabia?
Okay.
Read.
So let's read this
Yes,
passage.
please,
right?
please.
This is the blessing that Moses, the man of God, pronounced on the Israelites before his death.
Okay.
He said, "The Lord came from Sinai
You're reading the, okay, yeah.
and dawned over them from Seir.
Okay.
He shone forth from Mount Paran.
Yes.
He came with myriads of holy ones from the south, from his mountain slopes. Surely it is you who love the people. All the holy ones are in your hand. At your feet they all bow down, etc., etc. The law that Moses gave us, the possession of the assembly of Jacob. He was king over Jeshurun, when the leaders of the people assembled." Do you want to keep going, or is that what
You wanted to read all of that.
Okay.
I'm
So-
concerned about one verse.
So it seems to me here that this is a blessing being pronounced over.
Okay. So
over
in
the
other words,
nation of
it's a
Israel.
prophecy, right?
Well, no, it's not a prophecy.
Okay.
It's actually describing what's just happened.
Okay. What happened?
What's happened is that
What happened
God
in Paran?
has delivered. God has brought Israel out of Egypt through all these areas to the place where they are today. At the point of this
The
writing,
Jews
when they're
never,
about to enter
to
into
my
the promised
knowledge,
land.
in the time of Moses, never made it to Arabia. Did you know that?
They crossed through. They crossed no.
Sinai.
Look, they crossed through the Red Sea, right through
Okay.
that area.
Where did they go?
And as well, Arabia, you're thinking down the
Moses-
bottom where Mecca
Moses-
is, but Arabia is much higher. It can be all of that.
Okay. So Arabia is higher,
if you
but
look- if you look at Arabia,
is
let's
Makkah
look at the
Arabia?
map.
Is
Let's-
Makkah Arabia?
Yeah, I know, but this isn't saying Mecca.
It's not saying Makkah.
It's just
no,
saying,
no.
Didan, Kedar,
okay.
you know, these
Okay.
places.
Wait. I will
Let's
prove
have
my.
a look.
I'll prove my
Where's
point.
Kedar?
Wait. I'll prove my point. Wait. Now you're saying Mecca is not Arabia. I'm saying Paran is Mecca. I'm saying that right now. He's standing in front of
Have
you.
you
I'm
got
saying
evidence for that?
yes. Go Genesis
You want to go to Genesis? Then?
chapter
Okay.
21 verse 17.
And then the last point, because I want to make, I want to give my argument as to who the brethren
Of
is.
course, I'm saying Paran is Mecca. The wilderness of Paran, which is being addressed in Deuteronomy 33:2, this verse is directly talking about Mecca. So what happened in Mecca?
Genesis what?
21, chapter 21, verse 17. What's happening to Ishmael? Tell us.
So God heard the boy crying. This is when they were
God heard the boy crying. Read loud so that we can all hear
God
you.
heard the boy crying, and
Yeah.
the angel of the Lord called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation."
Okay. 21. Sorry, verse 21.
21.
Yeah. No, there.
While he was living in the desert of Paran, his mother got a wife for him from Egypt.
Okay, I want to address the point where it talks about the well of water that emerged as a miracle under his feet. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. It's there in chapter 21.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Verse 21.
No, not verse 21. Sorry. Okay, yeah. Then she went, from verse 16, then she went off and sat down about a bow shot away, for she thought, I cannot watch the boy die. And as she sat there, she began to sob. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar. Okay, where is the discussion on the well? Yes. The God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. Verse 19.
Yeah.
Same chapter.
Yeah.
Genesis 21, verse 19. Then God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. Why am I mentioning this?
Yeah, why are you mentioning it?
You know the biggest source of water in the Paran Valley, the Valley of Paran, which is usually called Hijaz. You know where it is?
No.
The well of Zamzam in Mecca.
Right, okay.
It hasn't dried. Okay, it hasn't dried to this day.
So that's
okay?
your argument as to why it's brethren.
Yeah. So
Did you want to
all
summarise it? Did you want to
indicators.
summarise
Yeah,
that? And then I'll
absolutely.
give my
The well of Zamzam, the water that came out
don't want to give you
for,
all the airtime.
for Ishmael, was in the city of Mecca, is in the city of Mecca to this day. So Paran, where Ishmael was left, specifically where the water came out, was the valley of Paran, was a specific point, and that point is Mecca. So when Lord came from Sinai, rose forth from, you can call them assumptions. I'm saying if this was about Jesus, the Christians would go to Scandinavia, then to Alaska, then to South America, then to Australia, and then come back to Britain to prove that it was Jesus, like you do with all the prophecies about Jesus, right? You use so many reasons, so many indicators to prove that it's Jesus. And we're saying directly these references are there about Arabia, something's happening in Arabia. The book of Isaiah, the entire chapter 42 is talking about something happening in Arabia.
Another
No, we're not going to another one. I'm just mentioning these
You're
side
talking a lot.
points.
I think it's time for me to say something. Now,
Okay.
I just want to ask you a
But
quick
why do
question.
the
I just want to
Christians?
ask you a quick
Why do
question.
the Christians forget
If
that
you agree,
that approach?
If you agree that the word brethren can mean the fellow Israelites,
And the Arabs.
yeah, but you agree, right?
Yes.
Why would you choose one over the other?
Good, very good
Just
question.
a short answer, a summary answer.
A fair question. Why? Because what the prophecy says otherwise fits in to the context of Muhammad, for example. For example, let me give you my quickly reason.
quickly, yeah.
So Moses like prophet. Moses like, okay, prophet. Because it's not talking about Moses like person. Moses like
we've
human.
discussed what that means.
Yeah. You asked me, so let me quickly clarify what I mean. Yeah, his prophethood would be like Moses. Whatever qualities Moses came with as a prophet, as a messenger, this is what God is talking about. Right now, no one brought a new law except Muhammad. Even Jesus did not bring a new Torah. Moses came with the Torah, a comprehensive law. Only Muhammad, who came from Arabia, from Paran, brought that comprehensive law. Okay, Muhammad governed as a prophet. So did Moses. He governed his people as a prophet. He implemented law. He punished people. He applied the law of God on his people. Okay, Jesus, no Israelite prophet ever did that after Moses. Okay, I mean there were few. Of course. Let me quickly summarize my point. They did. David, Solomon, Joshua. These people did apply the same law, but the law was the Torah. Okay. Sure. Muhammad came with a new law, a revision of the law of God, which is foretold again in the book of the reason why
I want to give why I think it's talking about the fellow
Sure,
Israelites.
please do, and I'll let you talk for as long as you want,
Okay,
right?
So,
in Isaiah 42, this law is
go to another one.
No, I'm trying to give you references as to why we believe, because comprehensively.
Yeah, but you've made your point. I think that's a simple
last
point.
point. The reason why it is not another Israelite prophet like Moses, even Jesus himself is not like Moses in that sense, in the prophetic sense, because the prophecy remained unfulfilled, and Jesus himself denied being that prophet.
Okay, now my turn.
Yeah.
So
now, did you understand the last sentence?
Yeah.
Jesus
No, he didn't
denied.
deny being that prophet.
Okay, now that's the point we need to come back to next time.
Yeah.
In the next session.
Maybe another debate. The reason why I think it's fellow Israelites, first of all, is because within the context, if you look, that Moses is talking about the authority of Israel. So he talks about kings, and he says in chapter 17 that you shall not put a. I'll just read it to you. When it says in chapter 17, just the chapter before, when you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you and have taken possession of it and settled in it, and you say, let us set a king over us, like all the other nations around us, be sure to appoint over you a king the Lord your God chooses. He must be from among your brethren. Do not place a foreigner over you, one who is not an Israelite. So it seems very close here. The context seems to be talking about...
where is this you're reading from?
This is chapter 17,
okay.
Verse 14. So it's just the chapter before that it's talking about the
but this brethren, is not connected to
the brethren. The second reason...
there's no connection here.
Well, yeah, because if you look at the overall context, it's talking about the authority within Israel.
So likewise...
I didn't cut you off.
Yeah, sure.
So you had the kings, you have the Levites is also mentioned in chapter 18, the same chapter. But the other reason why it's talking about brethren is because, as I said earlier in the beginning of the debate, it's in your midst, in your inner parts, the word kereb, which is applied...
Okay, so give me a prophet like Moses then, in their midst.
So, in their midst. So when it
give
says
me a prophet like Moses,
the point that I made at the beginning, which you seem to have quickly forgotten about, is like Moses is not talking about any old thing like Moses. It's something very specific.
Yes.
The specific thing is that it says, the Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you, from your brethren. You must listen to him, for this is what you ask of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, let us not hear the voice of God, or the Lord our God, nor see this great fire anymore, lest we die. So like Moses is someone who directly speaks to God, directly, and hears his revelation as a general principle, receives that revelation, and then imparts that to the people. Now you said Muhammad at one time spoke to God, but as a general rule, according to the Islamic tradition, Muhammad did not speak directly to God when he received his revelation, whereas this is saying that Moses
neither did Moses.
Yes, he did.
He did not.
He did.
As a general rule, Moses was always speaking to God. Yeah. I asked you this question earlier.
Yeah.
The entirety of the law,
he would go up, receive his revelation, and he would share it with the people.
Okay. Now I'll tell you why this prophet is still unfulfilled. Or this prophecy.
Jesus did that. Jesus spoke directly to God. Jesus spoke, he came by the Father.
No, Jesus is God. Jesus is God.
Yeah, the Trinity.
So he's not like Moses.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, no, how is he like Moses?
Like Moses is not any old thing, because otherwise he would have to be an Israelite.
No, but Jesus is God.
Moses was an Israelite.
Jesus can't be.
It can't be Muhammad because he wasn't an Israelite. That's the kind of argument you're making.
No,
right?
let me explain why.
I'm trying to say
I'm saying Jesus denied being that prophet.
Like Moses doesn't mean any old thing like Moses.
Let me give you a direct...
It refers specifically to the fact that very clear in the context that Moses spoke directly to God.
Let me give you my argument why. Okay. Firstly, before I move on to the next point, very quickly, because
I've actually got it.
No, we'll finish soon.
I've actually got it.
No problem. We'll finish. We will finish very soon. If I show you that prophet is not Jesus, if I show you conclusively, that's the condition. Is the door open for Muhammad then?
No, it could be Paul. Why not Paul?
Because Paul was Paul was a less. Paul was less of a candidate than Jesus.
No.
I'll show you why. I'll show you why.
I agree. Jesus is the candidate.
Thank you.
Is the one.
Okay, let's see if
I would easily argue it's
so why not Muhammad? What's your problem with Muhammad? What's your problem with Muhammad? What's your issue?
Well, because what he
what if he was truly a prophet of God and foretold in the Bible? What if that is the case?
I have no reason to believe Muhammad was a prophet.
Okay, no problem. You don't have any reasons yet. But if you were shown conclusive reasons, and when we do meet in the future, we will talk about Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42, we'll see whether that fits Muhammad or not. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay, I'm asking, if Muhammad turns out to be a very viable option for that prophecy, then what? If that's the case, then what?
A viable option?
Yes.
I don't think just because you think that it's possible he could fit the criteria, I don't think that would be
I'm saying if he is. If he
fits it.
Yeah.
Well, if he fits it, doesn't he? So
that means he's a true prophet of God.
Well, if someone fits that prophecy,
I'll tell you why Jesus is not that prophet.
If it's definitely evidence that is that prophecy talking about him.
Yes.
Right? But I don't think there is.
Okay, no problem. I'll tell you why Jesus is not that prophet. In the Gospel of John, when John the Baptist is baptizing people in the River Jordan, you are aware of it, right? People came and asked him, 3 questions. What were those 3 questions?
Are you Elijah? Are you the prophet? Are you the Messiah?
Okay.
One of those.
When they asked him, "Are you the Elijah?" What did he say? No.
He said no, he wasn't Elijah.
Okay.
Not the physical Elijah.
Well, according to the book of Matthew, he was the Elijah. According to Jesus.
Yeah, that's because
there's
I
a
think
confusion there now.
Luke,
Okay.
Luke
Yeah.
actually, when the angel Gabriel actually
Yeah.
speaks to Zechariah, as John the Baptist's father,
Right.
Gabriel understands that passage to mean someone coming in the spirit and power of Elijah.
Okay.
So he was right to say no to that.
Okay.
But he was still a fulfillment of that
Okay.
prophecy.
Okay. I leave the confusion for you to solve. Okay. Second question: Are you the Christ, the Messiah?
No,
He said no. Who was the Christ?
Jesus, but he didn't say Jesus was the Christ directly right then and there.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. I'm saying who was the Christ to you?
Jesus. Yeah.
Jesus. Are you that prophet? That prophet. And what were they referring to?
Well, probably Deuteronomy 18. Yeah.
Not probably.
Yeah.
Biblical scholars.
likely.
Biblical scholars are
likely that passage.
no. Biblical
I'm pretty much
scholars.
agreeing with you.
Okay, good. We're in agreement. That means up to that point when John the Baptist in the 1st century CE is baptizing people in the River Jordan, the prophecy remains unfulfilled. Yes?
No. All that means is that the Jews saw a distinction. The Jews at that time saw a distinction between that prophet and the Messiah.
Yes.
But if we see other passages, I'm pretty sure Peter applies it to Jesus in the book of Acts in his sermon on Pentecost. So I have to double check that. But
Just double check it.
But it does seem to me that
Okay,
just because the Jews thought they were two different people doesn't mean it was necessarily so.
Okay,
because the
then
Jews got lots of things wrong about it.
good, no problem. I am asking now, if the Jews were wrong about forming a distinction in these 3 persons, that the Elijah is separate to the Christ and the Christ is separate to that prophet, okay? They can all, they're not, no. I'm leading to a point. If the Jews were wrong in that distinction, forming a distinction between these 3 people, why did Jesus not controvert that? Why did John the Baptist remain? Was John a prophet of God?
Well, probably because, like...
Probably.
No, listen to me. Look.
No,
I used
John
word
the Baptist.
probably. No, I wasn't answering your question. I was answering your first question.
Right.
I said,
No, finishing right now. Because
see, bro, nice to meet you, by the way.
you're going to leave after Maghrib? Okay. We're just finishing right now and we're going to leave. I'm going to leave with you guys.
I'll have to think about that passage you mentioned, by the way. The one in Samuel.
You got a lot of homework to do.
See you, bro.
Okay, so the point is, so if the Jews were wrong in forming that distinction between 3 persons, if they were wrong, as you are claiming they were wrong, John the Baptist, who is a prophet of God, listening to rubbish, listening to errors and mistakes, his job is to correct them, like Jesus corrected the Jews many times.
Yeah, but sometimes Jesus didn't, and John the Baptist perhaps as well, didn't correct people because he knew.
So they
the
left them
stubborn-
in error.
Left them in error. Like
I don't agree with
very,
that.
Very clearly, that's why Jesus.
So
spoke
why
in
was
parables,
Jesus?
it says.
So why was he
Because
correcting
their
them?
hearts were already hardened, and he just left them to the hardness.
But
of
why
their
was he
heart.
correcting them at other times on lesser important issues?
You'd have to show me examples so I can show you why in that situation he corrected.
When Jesus.
But we know for sure that Jesus clearly spoke in parables. It says so that they wouldn't hear, because they had already rejected so much. He got to the point where he didn't want them to hear anymore.
So are you not aware of any examples of Jesus correcting the Jews?
Yeah.
On minor issues?
Top of my head, I'm getting a bit tired because I've been here all day. So
There are many
hours,
places.
you have to
So
give me a
this
specific
was
example
an
to
issue
respond
of
to.
utmost importance. That prophet, who is that prophet?
Why don't
Who
you
is
wrap up
still?
and I'll wrap up, yeah?
Okay, that's it. I'm done.
Okay, I'm done.
I'm done.
Well, I guess
And,
we're done.
nice talking to
I
you.
think it's been a
I
good
forgot your
chat.
name.
I'm Caleb.
Caleb.
Caleb, yeah.
Caleb.
Yeah, it's been a
Nice
good
to
chat
talk.
with
Nice
you,
to
and
talk to you.
it's,
Thank you very
I've
much.
seen your debate, so
Yeah.
I do appreciate.
No worries,
you
no
chatting
worries.
with
It's
me.
my
I thought-
honor. It's my
I thought
pleasure.
I wouldn't get the honor of chatting with you. So
No,
I did. So that's
no.
great.
I always like talking to people where I can have a decent discussion, like we did. You spoke, I spoke, and we leave the judgment to the audience.
Yeah.
Let them decide. All the brothers and sisters out there, Christians and Muslims. And the main point I want to highlight is that you as a Christian, I as a Muslim, we have come together, we've had a decent discussion, we have shown the world that it can be done. And this is why I have debates with your scholars and you know, I went to Australia and had debates with Samuel Green and Bernie
I've seen
Powers,
that.
and I disagreed with them heavily.
Yeah.
We had huge disagreements,
Yeah.
but we were able to hug each other
Yeah, that's good.
and walk away.
Yeah, I've seen your
happily.
debates with James White as well.
Nice
So,
talking to you. Okay,
yeah,
thank you
cool.
so much for your time. No worries. Keep watching and keep coming back, and we will have more discussions. Next time we discuss Isaiah 42.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Okay, no worries. Okay, Kel. Thank you guys. Whose umbrella is this?
Mike.